This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 3 hours in holding, with 1 hour 16 minutes remaining in this built-in hold. During this hold, the final inspection team is on the pad for most of the entire duration of that 2-hour period. They entered the pad as we went to the T-minus 3 hour and holding point at about 6 o'clock this evening. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 3 hours and holding. The closeout crew is in the White Room awaiting the arrival of the astronaut in about another 90 minutes time. Temperature at launch time expected to be about 49 degrees with easterly winds 8 to 12 knots and a humidity about 70%, visibility 7 to 10 miles. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 3 hours and holding. We're now live in the crew quarters where we are undergoing our suit-up activities for tonight. There's Dr. Bernard Harris, mission specialist number 1. Michael Foale, mission specialist Dr. Foale's MS number 2. He's our flight engineer on this mission. And there we have Vladimir Titov, making his first flight on the shuttle. He spent 1 year on board the Mir space station. This is his 3rd flight into space. And he'll be doing a lot of the communications between the shuttle and the Mir. There's our first woman pilot, Eileen Collins, making her first flight. Janice Voss making her 2nd flight. She's prime on the RMS for the Spartan retrieval, among other things. And that appears to be our commander, Jim Weatherby. He's making his 3rd flight on STS 63. At T-minus 3 hours and holding, this is shuttle launch control. And here they come. James Weatherby, Commander James Weatherby, pilot Eileen Collins, mission specialist Michael Foale, mission specialist Janice Voss, Dr. Bernard Harris, and Vladimir Titov. Standing by now to pick up the countdown. We have about 15 seconds remaining in the hold. And again, we're not working any problems in the countdown tonight at all so far. 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're at T-minus 3 hours and counting. This is shuttle launch control at T-minus 2 hours, 41 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. In the White Room now we see Commander Jim Weatherby being assisted with his launch and entry suit as he prepares to enter Space Shuttle Discovery. And Eileen Collins will be sitting in the right front seat of Discovery. And on she goes. T-minus 4 minutes.
let's go for approach sequence 4.
Preparing now to gimbal the main engines of the orbiter and the flight controls. We see now the orbiter's elevon being moved. Standing by to retract the Cox VIN arm, the Cox beanie cap.
TLT OTC, clear caution and warning memory and verify no unexpected errors.
TLT, that's working, no unexpected errors.
OTC copies.
Gaseous oxygen vent hood now being moved off the top of the tank and retracted to the launch position. Liquid oxygen tank now at flight pressure.
Discovery crew, OTC, close and lock your visors. Initiate O2 flow. Have a good flight. That's in work, and thanks a lot.
Standing by to turn off the heaters on the solid rocket booster joints. Then we'll have a final check of the booster commands. Solid rocket booster nozzles being gimbaled. T-minus 18 seconds. Solid rocket boosters armed. Sound suppression water system activated.
10.
T-minus 10 seconds. Go for main engine start. Main engine's now started. Main engine's up and running. 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Discovery on a mission to prepare for the next era of world cooperation in space.
Hello, program, Houston.
Roger, roll, Discovery. Houston is now controlling Discovery on its 20th trip to space. Discovery rolling on course for an orbit with the Mir space station. Mir currently half a world away above the Indian Ocean. Three engines on Discovery now throttling down to 2/3 throttle. Discovery's altitude now 17 nautical miles, 15 nautical miles northeast of the Kennedy Space Center. Discovery traveling 2,800 miles per hour. Flight controllers standing by for burnout and jettison of the twin solid rockets. Booster officer confirms a good separation and jettison of the twin solid rockets. Discovery now in its second stage, 3 main engines.
Включение двигателя есть старт. Ланч.
Начался отсчет. Уже полет во времени, внимательно смотрю на наши
Bio, did I see that we're predicting a 2-stage bucket here?
I thought I believe that's true.
Okay.
$15. 10. TLS's go for main engine start. All vents open.
Copy vents.
T0 SRB ignition. Liftoff.
Liftoff confirmed.
Copy liftoff.
Hello, program, Houston. SRB set.
Copy SRB set.
Stand by for 2-engine tail. Mark.
Discovery, 2-engine TOW.
2-engine tail.
103 converged.
Copy 103.
Performance nominal.
Discovery, performance nominal.
Nominal performance.
No action. R1U L2D failed off.
Discovery Houston, Nominal MECO, ohms 1 is not required. We also see R1U and L2D failed off, no action at this time.
Unlatch. Gotta find someplace to put this diffuser cap.
It was a good place. Yes, there, over there.
But see, right here there's a pad. That was where the pad was. It's just still on there. Okay, good.
The Guidance, Navigation, and Control Officer here in Mission Control reports that the crew has completed their Flight Control Systems checkout, and Data Processing Systems Officer reports that the onboard flight control computers for Discovery are now being transitioned from the checkout software they've been in for the past hour and 15 minutes back to the software that is the standard for orbital operations. That checkout appeared to go very well with no problems seen by flight controllers on the ground. All of Discovery's systems in good shape for the return home planned for Saturday.
Okay, lights 3G1, 3G2, and 3G3. Flickering only 3G3. One gap. And next, lights HG1, HG2, and HG3. After power on was green, were green. After 4 minutes, right now red.
As an extension to the middeck of the space shuttle, allowing experiments to be stowed along in middeck lockers seen on the right-hand side of this television view. On board Space Hab for this flight are 20 different experiments that have been operating for the past 3 days.
Space Hab Park, Discovery Force, DZBA.
Go ahead.
Terminate gaps 12 and 13 complete. Gap 13 was at 5/5:15.
Copy that. Thanks.
Houston Discovery, for Pelos on glow.
Go ahead, Mike.
Story, I just switched out the VIUCM, and once again I have the same signature. I must say I think it's the signal and not so much the configuration.
Okay, thanks for your efforts. Wex, we suggest you go to the other controller, and as you know, you just pin it to the other actuator and select the other controller on L1.
Okay, that's what we'll do. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
And Clay, I've cycled the circuit breaker on the SEU number 1.
Copy that. Thanks.
And Discovery Houston, on camera Bravo, we've had some last-minute requests from Oderax to do some adjusting for camera Bravo. We're going to do that at this time. No action.
Roger. First one's away, Houston. First sphere. And there goes a dipole. There goes a second sphere. And a dipole. There's the third sphere. And a dipole.
And we
proper velocity.
And we copy Wex. We watched it from the ground. It was very interesting. And we have camera D at this time, Eileen.
Okay, thanks. Houston Discovery, here comes the door closure.
And we copy and we're watching.
Doors moving. disregard the RS-422. I found it downstairs in the middeck.
That's good news, Mike. Discovery Houston, when somebody has a chance, we'd like you to turn on tips. We have a couple of messages to send up to you. There'll be messages number 8 and 17.
D1 plus 325, stop maneuver rotation.
And we copy. Good morning from the flight deck of Discovery. We're in preparations, final preparations for our rendezvous with Mir, which will occur in a couple of hours. We'll initiate the final portion and enter the checklist here in a couple of hours. I thought I'd walk around or float around the cockpit and show you a little bit about what we'll be doing in the next 4 hours. Both Eileen and I will be up in the forward part of the flight deck in our seats for the first part of the rendezvous. And let me step back just a second. The very first maneuver that we accomplished for the rendezvous occurred at launch. We waited until the launch pad was in the plane of the Mir, and then we quickly launched into that plane. Ever since launch, we've been doing a couple of burns to optimize the trajectory in preparation for the rendezvous. When we get into the final portion of the rendezvous timeline here in an hour or two, Eileen and I will both be in our forward flight deck seats. Most of the burns that we accomplish at that point will be targeted by the ground, or I guess all of them will be targeted by the ground. It's all done automatically by computers. We just verify the data and enter it into the keyboards and then execute the burn. As we get into the middle portion of the rendezvous, it becomes ground targeted. We have onboard steering, but it's a manually flown burn. We'll actually control the burn manually via that ground targeting. Eventually we go to onboard targeting, where the sensors on board the vehicle are a little bit more accurate than the ground tracking solutions. And so we do that manually up here in the front part of the flight deck. As we get into the final portion, I will float to the aft station and we'll perform the last couple of burns before getting into proximity operations from the aft station. I will be looking out the overhead windows facing backwards in the vehicle, but of course in space everything is relative, so it doesn't matter. We have a set of controls back here, and we can fly translations of our vehicle with this hand controller and rotations from this hand controller, although the rotations are typically all done automatically. We will acquire a visual sight of the mirror at this overhead window, and I have a COAS sight, or a hard-mounted manual sight in the overhead window. When all else fails, Mike is going to tell you a little bit about his magic devices and his ranging sensors. When all else fails, if they start acting funny, or the radar starts walking around on the mirror giving us bad navigation, we always have the old iron sight out the top window, which never moves, and there's no software, and so it's a reliable piece of gear, and then we just fly visually. As we panel around over to the port side of the vehicle, I'll take the camera and I'll offer the mic to Mike, and he'll tell you a little bit about his magic sensors.
And Houston, while Jim is over there on the starboard side looking out over the overhead window up that way, basically Vladimir, myself, and Eileen will be on the flight deck supporting him, and we'll be using the rendezvous tools. And these are computers that we have set up specifically that will allow us to plot the rendezvous going on here and on here. And we'll have trajectory displays from our different sensors that are in the payload bay. I actually have a handheld laser also that I will shoot out of the window, and I will be pointing it up out of the overhead. And this handheld laser is really no different from anything that the police would use to do traffic patrol monitoring. And we can basically point it out of the window and pull the trigger, and I get a readout on the back of it as to how far away the mirror will be, and also how fast Jim is closing on it. In fact, when I pull the trigger, it will actually be displayed back here on these computers, and I can take those range marks and put them into the computer and get an idea as to how our trajectory towards the mirror is progressing.
This is Mission Control Houston. We continue to receive a television image from Discovery as Discovery passes to the west of Australia of the Mir space station, currently lying less than 200 nautical miles ahead. Mir is the steady bright light located in the upper center of the television image. Discovery just moving into sunset. Also visible in the image are pieces of ice and fuel that is leaked from steering jets, and also other such items that remain with the shuttle as it circles in orbit and are very visible during times of sunrise and sunset. Those particles show up very brightly.
Discovery, good config. Go for the burn.
Roger, go for the burn.
Can you see the configuration?
Configuration right now. It's like station and 3 levels of solar battery. It's nice.
What is this? What is this right here?
And Houston Discovery, I have my first mark at 3,037.
Copy, Mike. In Discovery, we'd like low Z at 1,000 feet.
Low Z selected.
Update of
1,023, Houston.
Copy.
And Houston Discovery, the LTI off the docking port is 424, and TCS is showing 428, so it's about what we always predicted.
Thanks, Mike.
Talon block,
Copy, Mike.
Talon block 24 Alpha's on board. You probably should be consistent. Right, can you pass the mic? I'll hear it. Houston block 24 Alpha.
По-моему, это Сережа был, да?
Лена, я тебя слышу хорошо. Как меня прием?
Houston Discovery on CRT4.
In Houston, when can you get cameras again?
Just about now.
Good. It's unbelievable.
Mike, we're thinking your TCS elevation may depend on what reflectors you're locked onto.
Okay, story up. Houston Discovery on our camera, we temporarily zoomed in just to make sure that the sun doesn't enter the field of view. One degree, 9 o'clock, Houston.
Привет,
Copy, wings.
Сколько сейчас расстояние, Володь?
Сейчас расстояние 16 метров. 15 метров. Лена, как меня слышно? Прием.
2.5 degrees, 10 o'clock.
Я тебя принял, я тебя слышу хорошо. Прием.
Мы наблюдаем экипаж Дискавери. Очень хорошо его видно. Очень хорошо видно Володю. Прием.
Я очень рад. Прием.
what page am I on?
The next block is 38 Alpha, which is on page 38.
Okay.
And we do that at, it's the next thing we do.
Okay.
With the lens augment.
How confident are you in that?
Pretty good now. Oops, stop that now. Stop it. What are those pulses you're doing there?
Close
it. Okay. Quit doing that. Let's start taking ranges again. 581. 585.
Сереж, дело в том, что когда они были вот на отходе, то показывали. Вот сейчас
Discovery has started a slow ascent from the velocity vector.
О, видно, весь иллюминатор Титова.
Так пусть вылезает теперь, что уже.
О, теперь видно и наш флаг родной. Издалека.
Discovery for Velocia.
Spaceships closer together. We are bringing our nations closer together. The next time we approach, we will shake your hand, and together we will lead our world into the next millennium. Как мы сблизили наши космические корабли, так мы сблизили наши нации. В следующий раз, когда мы встретимся, мы пожмем друг другу руки и вместе войдем в следующее тысячелетие.
Корпус видно. Это комкодер, да? А вот, хорошо видно сейчас было струю.
было очень хорошо еще, Сереж, видно, когда он тоже подходил. И малые работали, и вот эти носовые.
Ага, так лучше чуть-чуть отъехать.
Meanwhile, we're getting live pictures from inside the Mir space station. This is physician Dr. Valery Polyakov. He currently has the record for the most time spent on orbit by any human.
По весне показывали такие ножнички, говорит, вот, говорит, мы приобрели специально для того, чтобы послать набор. Замечательные ножницы.
Houston, Discovery.
Go ahead, Discovery.
Yes, sir. As the sun came up, they were in the maneuver, of course, and they're firing jets. We're firing jets. Their arrays are moving.
Сегодня мы закончили разворот, у нас есть группа.
It's a beautiful sight. It's a great world.
Закончили разворот, ГСЦ есть.
It is a great world, Wags. Up there and down here.
Как кадр, вот спрашивает Степанович.
Хорошо, прямо в центре экрана, все отлично идет.
Картинка хорошая, очень хорошая.
Spasiba. I want to say that Mir is very beautiful, and it was very shiny, and we are very happy to meet you in the sky.
Алин, ваш корабль, ваш Discovery тоже великолепен. И нам особенно приятно было за ним наблюдать, зная, что ты находишься в этом корабле еще и пилотом. Всего самого доброго тебе.
Spasiba, you are very nice, and maybe someday we can meet. До свидания.
До свидания. Счастливо.
Discovery, a magnificent picture, mirror crossing the horizon.
Well, we should have it on IMAX also, and we certainly have it in all of our eyes.
Yes, sir.
Заснял сквозь тот иллюминатор поцарапанный 37КЭ, как вы уходили за кромку, за контуры нашего грузовика. Грузовик мы назвали «Совраска».
Light Go ahead, GNC. Yeah, we think we have good angles with TCS. Okay. And how do you have, what, AS-L? Yes, sir. What can you tell me there? AS is minus 2.1, L is 1.06.
Houston, we are seeing absolutely no motion in the arrays from where we float.
Rendezvous copy. Understand.
Copy, Wanks.
And Flight Fido.
And Velogi confirms that from their position.
Go ahead, Fido.
I think that dot to the right of the orbiter is Venus.
Okay.
Discovery for Wanks.
Go ahead, he's listening.
Okay, Eileen, we have been watching you all on the flight deck, and we have been looking at your smiles, so some of this information may have gotten to you by another means, but you are go to approach to 10 meters.
Thank you very much, Story, and to everybody who worked the issue, again, thank you very much.
You're welcome, and thank you for all you have done.
And Discovery Houston, it's handover down here and handover time down here in the control center. Rob and Mark will take it from here. Paul and I have had a pleasure putting their things together. Have a great time, enjoy the view outside, and heads up, watch out for that first step. It's a long one.
Harrison Full are currently going through checkouts of their spacesuits to ensure that they're in good working order before they begin a pre-breathe again of pure oxygen that will last 4 hours.
Begin push clock.
And we copy, Volodya.
This view showing Mike Full suited up in the airlock, and Bernard Harris.
Once again, Mike Full is EV1 and is wearing red stripes on the legs of his spacesuit, and Bernard Harris is EV2.
I'm on my way.
Okay.
Mission Specialist Mike Full has completed installing the large handling tool on the Spartan spacecraft. He will now go to a point where he will be able to ingress the portable foot restraint on the end of the robot arm. Bernard Harris is currently installing a small handling tool on the other side of Spartan. Mission Specialist Vladimir Titov will now maneuver the robot arm to a position where the two spacewalking astronauts are well above the payload bay. This will put them in an environment that is as cold as possible.
And maybe, Bernard, with your feet against the hardware,
Yeah.
you might have some thermal transfer.
I think that's probably what's happening because rather than have the inserts, I've got the 3 pairs of socks. I copy that, I mean, free drift.
Going to release on my mark. 3, 2, 1, release.
Go to release, Michael.
I see it moving.
Be careful. Spartan is clear.
It's released.
Be careful.
And Bernard, I felt the springs push up on it. Yep. And it's tipped up on this end, Mike. Okay. I'm going to lift it out of the guides very slowly. How high am I in the guides on that side? You're 2 inches above the guides on this side and seem to be tipped toward me.
That's correct, Mike. You're a little bit lower on your side and higher on Bernard's side.
Okay.
Discovery.
Okay, coming up.
Unfortunately, we're a minute and a half to Teeter LOS. Get you back at 9 hours and 5 minutes.
Mike, do you have your hands pulled out of the gloves? Yes, I do, and that's the best way to do it.
And Mike, one action for you to help you warm up if you want is to set your water to off.
Michael, I am ready to maneuver.
I am ready, Claudia.
Okay, start to forward.
That's good. Continue. Okay, Ali, my left tether is closed and locked on the longeron.
Okay, I copy that. Next is to disconnect your slide wire safety tether from the end effector.
You ready to go down? Start. You ready? Yeah. Just a second. Okay. You got it. I got it. Uh-oh. I have it still tied to me. And I have let go of my tether.
looks like it's going to land it. Let's check.
Well, this, in this SMS, that pink comes on a lot later than you're seeing it.
Yeah.
It's night, maybe. Right. Because we're not even coverage with guidance yet.
Yeah, we're starting to get some indicators. Shoot.
Hold on, Jim.
Landing gears down and locked. Main gear touchdown. Discovery standing by for drag chute deploy. Nose gear touchdown. Discovery rolling out after 3 million miles and 130 orbits.
Roger, we'll stop Discovery. Welcome home and congratulations on an outstanding mission. Y'all did a terrific job up there.
Flight GNC, CSS all axes.
3,000, about 3,000 feet low there at the 180.
Low at the 180. Discovery ought to put you low at the 180. Roger. Discovery on glide slope and center line. Surface winds remain 180 at 6, peaking to 8.